Hello everyone, welcome to my the process of art making. And today we find this beautiful iris in my backyard, and we zoom in on this one. That's what we're gonna do, okay? And first, and this part I'm showing you with a tablet, but I already changed the process. I've learned how to do screen recording. And so what I'm showing you is I took a picture of the flower. I just wanted to show you how I first, with my sketching, I identify the shape first, okay, and then I go into the form later. And so this is what I wanted to show you. If you're following my pencil line, you'll see how I'm looking at the different shape. And I will start right here using my pencil and my sketchbook because I really love drawing, and so with a pencil actually, and so I don't think I will go into using computerized software, in the near future. But here I am just trying to block in the bigger shape, okay? And later I realized that this line I just draw, it will be a lot prettier if I curve it a little bit more. And so in my final painting of the paint along with you guys, I will do that, which means that I already tell you right now that this sketching and drawing will eventually turn into a iris painting that we paint along, which is going to be really fun. And the speed over here is only about 2 times, and so it's not really speeding up too much. And I actually made a mistake when I was out there sketching. I actually passed this part without even noticing it, and so that's why I'm going back into my studio and redo this part, and you see that in a minute. And here I'm doing the very papery part of and then I realized that I make a mistake, and I want to point this out because I had lifted the shape of that triangle without using an eraser. I find that most of my drawing is not quite necessary. For some reason, the marks that are wrong will just kind of disappear. And now, after the general shape of the flower petals, I'm going in right now, still with a pencil, and try to be a little more details on the little bit more details on the I guess you can call it the second layer of the drawing of the petal. Okay, after the general shape, then we can go in and put a little more detail on the shape. And the reason why I'm going through all this line is because at that point I was not sure how do I fix the problem of forgetting to turn on the video. And so now I am back outside and get back to doing the drawing. And it's this whole process, I really do prefer to be looking at the actual flower as much as I could. But life is not that easy, right? Sometimes we just don't have the luxuries of having all the flowers that we wanted to paint, and there are so many beautiful flowers there. And so I do my best, but I'm so grateful that as for this one, I could actually have the flowers right in front of my face. I have neighbors that have asked me to. Everyone know I'm an artist, and I am very shy. And at this point, I'm changing over to ballpoint pen. I like to use ballpoint pen because I find that with pencil, sometimes I rub on the page and it make it quite dirty. And so with ballpoint pens, you won't run into that problem. But one of the thing is then you don't get to erase. But like I say, I don't really feel like the erasing is such an important part. Like if I made a mistake, I usually sometimes I put cross mark on it because this is my sketchbook, right? And so sometimes even like if I make mistake, it's good to put a mark there, because then by the time you're ready for painting, the real paint along, then you don't really or make a real painting, then you don't really remember what mistake you made, and putting a cross mark there actually will help. Actually, um, and so I love drawing these petals. They are just so beautiful. Um, you know, just the shape, and so now it's the time when you can be a little bit artistic, right? With your um, with your with your lines, instead of just a shape, just a little shape of a rectangle or circle or whatever. Now you can actually be more expressive. I love expressiveness of artist line. I think that is part of the real beauty, and so that will be something that we can all work on. Doing better, and more artistic. And in the near future, I wanted to, because I don't always copy directly what I see in my eye, because nature sometimes, for this flower, I guess I'm quite lucky that she is very pretty. But sometime in nature, maybe a petal had fallen off, maybe it wasn't facing the right direction, right? And so through the years, because of my experience in drawing and sketching, I had actually learned how to um, create, I guess you can call that, um, flowers. I like to create flowers. I find that maybe it is the way that my brain work. I find that it's very, very hard for me to, um, uh, especially with flowers that are a little bit complicated to for me to be following exactly what I see. And so sometimes I actually create petals, and sometimes they could be more complicated, which is usually what the time is, what the situation is, when I try to create a flower through experience. But that is more like what the Chinese art painting, the discipline, right? A lot of times the artists really are just creating flowers. They take reference from painting and drawing, but they don't do it exactly. And so, it is very hard for anyone. That fussy part is really cute, right? And of course, we have to remember. And you can just see that I draw the line, and it's the curve. I observed that very, very. It looks like I draw it very quickly, because now it's two times the speed. Actually, I am observing the petal and the line, how it curved down very, very carefully. And so the focus is actually quite intense, and I'm so glad that I am actually voicing over, because it will, it didn't disturb my, when I'm drawing, I need a lot of focus. Um, and so, uh, and so in the future, I will actually make, there is one of my sunflower is actually quite a lot of people like that on Pinterest. I will actually do a video of the process of how I um, get that sunflower created in my mind. And so now I'm already working on the volume, right? You see that I'm doing quicker stroke. The stroke here is just so that I am uh, uh, trying to do the form, and you see some cross mark I put there, and that's how aggressive I am with my sketch. I am not afraid of putting strange marks on there, because it is very important for me when I draw to remember every single detail and mistake that I make, so that in the final painting I wouldn't do that, right? Okay, now I'm doing the pointed area and put a line through that. That is to help the form of this papery part. Okay, I'm it's very fun for me to watch it and voice over, like right now. Okay, now I'm doing the form again. Okay, I'm trying to do some shadow so that the stem of the iris does not look like just a rectangle. It actually look like a tube. At least I'm trying. I guess with the when we put the color, you can see that will be more apparent. Okay, and suddenly I saw a back pedal. Okay, and so I was like telling myself, why didn't you see that on the first time? And so I make a note to myself, there is a pedal there, and don't forget to paint that, because that's more true to what I see, and it is quite pretty. And so as I'm drawing, I actually think about a lot of things. And you can see that there's a colorful towel on the floor because I'm actually sitting on the ground. I'm Chinese, okay, so I grow up sitting on the ground a lot. That's what we do over there. My mom keep our house, the floor, very, very clean. Like every night she'll be mopping the floor. And so I actually do some of that when I'm traveling, to VRBO or, people's house. I actually like to mop the floor at night. And so we're very, very used to sitting on the ground. So I actually sit here, I think, for at least 45 minutes, and that doesn't bother me, because the muscle and the ligament is used to it, right? Now you can see that I'm trying to correct the drawing over here, okay? So I remember at this point, I am thinking, okay, the form, okay, the shape is already there. Remember to do the form so that people can see that this is a bud. My actually I actually filmed this the second time. The first time, the GoPro that my husband rented for me to see if we should go get a GoPro for filming actually didn't work very well. GoPro actually wanted to focus on my finger and the pen, on my hand and the pen, but I need whatever I'm using to film to focus on the paper. And so that from doing some research, we decided that actually a camcorder is actually very good. It can focus on different area at the same time simultaneously. So it's very, very good for filming video. And because my daughter and my husband now have time, right? School is over, and he's mainly doing research and she is done. So she's trying to help. They're all trying to help me to make things better for me and easier. I'm very happy. I get all this attention now. And I hope that things will go better. I actually get a light. My husband got me a new light that now I'm filming outside, okay? Now I'm checking on the time. I say, am I over, taking too much time? And or I have a tablet next to me, to help me with things that I needed to see. You might think that over here, we're actually I'm not actually in a quiet environment. My neighbor has 4 little boys, and one of them is a baby, but the other 3 is very fun. And so they actually come out and say hi to me. They wanted to try to get my attention, to talk to me. I love talking to children, right? Now I think at this point I'm thinking now how many of the lines I should keep, because I am one who does not like to have my flowers or any painting to be too busy. And so you will see that more apparent as I draw. Now, right over here, I actually see a shadow on the flower. And so I am drawing like kind of where the shadow is, because this shadow is actually quite important, because if I paint that correctly at the very end, it actually will show that the flower actually has some volume to it. And so I'm putting that there so that I will remember. And so this is truly a sketch, And now I'm trying to work on the shadow and the form again, to make sure that I get all the shadow that I needed to see. I'm so happy that I can actually show you how I draw, decide to do this, the process of art making. Then you guys can actually look into my brain and see all the prep work before I actually go into a painting. There's a lot of practicing. That's probably why when I do an actual paint along, even though it could be an hour long, and I don't make a lot of mistake, because the preparation and the practice help me to be very, very familiar. Yeah, I'm deciding how many lines to keep in right now, and lots of things to think about, right? As you are drawing, as you are practicing drawing. It's very fun because it helps you focus. It's a very relaxing, I guess we can make it anxious if we wanted to, but I try to make it more relaxing because I like to enjoy the process. Even though I'm focused, I'm actually giving the other part of my brain a little break, okay? Now, so the drawing is done. Now we're back to my studio and working on the color, okay? I'm trying to make it to be true to the color, and I'm using the dioxazine purple And then here I'm trying to think, okay, is royal blue good from this other paints from Japan? I can just suddenly remember. I'm either using royal blue or phthalo blue, but I think it is royal blue. Now this is the part where I am trying out the color and mixing the royal blue together with, and I say, okay, does it turn muddy? If it doesn't turn muddy, then I think it's a go. Okay, well, I know that it won't turn muddy because I have tried that combination. Okay, so that's another combination dip. Okay, royal blue plus dioxazine purple, royal blue from a different brand, but the dioxazine purple is actually from Daniel Smith. Okay, this is the dropping in the color of my sketching part. Okay, and so this will help me a lot, very very much, you know, because then I will see how the color turn out. You never know, because on the little patch that I try, it might say that, oh, don't worry, I'm not going to make problem, but you know, sometimes when you start painting, they actually will turn into mud. And I think at the very end, which is what the first picture that you can see at the very beginning, I have actually dropped some more quinacridone violet because I wanted to have some of the pinkish red purple in there to break up the color of this of such intense of blue purple, even though in nature it is really the blue. And so if you guys don't want to do that, and you will see when we talk about the painting, the final paint along, you know, I will once again, you know, remind you guys that you don't have to do what I do. It's just my artist preference that I like to put a little bit of a contrasting color there to give the eye a relief. I talk about that a lot, right? And so here I am, you know, did you see that I actually drop color? Now, you see me dropping color again. I'm actually picking some light wash, okay, and just do the first layer. And while this color is still wet, I will actually drop in. You know, I actually drop in some more intense color. It's kind of, I think now I'm going to pick up the pigment and just drop in the color, okay? And it's very, very nice, you know. Watercolor is lend itself to flower painting very much, because we can leave as much white as we need it, and the whites are very, very important in nature, in flower. Of course, we have more intense flower, and sometimes I will still use my artist license to leave more white with my sunflower, with this very rare sunflower, the one that I told you earlier that I will show you in some distant time, the process of how I actually create a flower, you know, with my memory and what I have in my brain, you know. This one is not. I'm actually, you know, I'm sketching, right? Because I have all these iris, so I don't have to create it. And I happen to look through all the iris that's outside, and this one is very, very pretty. And so I just say, oh, okay, she's perfect. I don't have to go create one myself. But, okay, now this is the other side, right? Of the back side of the petal. So this little part over here, the color need to be more intense so that you can see the petal actually turn, right? I hope I can portray that. And now here and with our paint along. Yes, and that is one shout out for learning how to draw, right? Because as we draw a lot, we have the experience, everything go into our brain, and when there's something that we need to fix and do, then our brain will just come out and help us with all the experience. Like if I have tried drawing petals for 20 years, then my brain has a lot. To be honest with you, I don't really go back to my sketch, and sometimes I do, but when I try to create a flower, usually just I look at reference picture. And you know what, and another a good thing that I just suddenly think of when we do that I will never be accused of copying, because I'm such a malcontent of what I can see with photo, my photo, other people's photo, and nature. I change things all the time, so I don't really, copycat people and what they have. I may use it for reference, but I don't like copy things exactly at all. And I guess this is I'm trying the yellow, and see if I should do yellow green or just yellow. And I think because yellow, the opposite color in the spectrum of yellow, you call it the complementary color, is blue. Yellow, blue, no, orange is blue, yellow is purple. So it's very, very good to have that in a painting, because it give your eye relief. Okay. And so I decided to just use the cadmium yellow light. And now in here, in a little while, I will realize that it is not good for me to have such a intense color, because this is the side that's facing the sun, and the line is more important here. When it's true to nature, it doesn't have such a big such a deeper color of dioxazine purple mixed with the blue. And so I don't want to do that. I need to I think it is prettier too, actually, to be honest. It is prettier without a lot of intense color on the edge, like right here. Okay. I find that color a little more intense. I would rather give the space to the line instead of the strip of color. Isn't this fun? I hope you guys are having fun. I actually have a story with this. Maybe I will talk about how I come about getting these flowers. Yeah, in my final paint along. Let's do that, okay? Instead of doing it here, because I'm voicing over. I'm a little bit insecure. Now, you see the mistake I made. I keep I keep dropping in more and more color on the edge, when in reality, the edge is very lazy. Okay, now this petal here is the petal on the other side, right? You can see my note, and so we need to get it a little bit darker. So I will come in with some Payne's gray in a minute, like maybe right now. I'll go fetch some Payne's gray color, and the reason why I mixed that with the dioxazine purple is then I can push the petal back. And even on my sketching, that was quite important. I am a little bit of OCD person, even when I am doing a sketch, which is right now. You can see I have a lot of scribble, but I'm still quite uptight about making this flower pretty. And so maybe I wouldn't do that as much in the future. Now, as I always say, okay, one of our enjoyment of painting is because we really enjoy the process, and laying the paints on paper are very, very important to us as a relaxing tool and something that we enjoy. Our brain focus on it. And so, okay, in no way I would recommend you guys to hurry. Okay, leave the hurrying to me. You guys should take your time, pause it. If your brain is tired, then or your hand or your eye is tired, then go and come back later. Okay, let me have to deal with things in one shot, and have to be a little bit faster. And so you guys just relax. That's what I would recommend. Okay, and don't try to rush through, because that take away a lot of the privilege of what doing watercolor or being an artist provide you. Okay, enjoy being outside, enjoy being inside in your studio, enjoy the solitude. Okay, and just leave the hurrying for me. And I am very honest with you. Now this little part that I'm painting is the back side, right? And so I need to make that a little more intense, so that you can see that it's the turning of the beautiful petal. Oh, I just think that this flower that happened to be, she is in my garden. She is just getting ready for me to come out. And so I'm so glad I find her. You know, it is just very, very fun for me to find because I think her petals and the way it turns is just beautiful. And it is very fun and a privilege to be able to see that with my eye in person instead of looking at an image or a photograph from someone, right? And so even my neighbors, some of them wanted me to go over and they say, oh, I have a bush, I have this bush, I have that bush, just come. When you have time, you can. Actually, I'm a little late about planting Sania. I was thinking that this summer I'll do Sania, so I don't know if I could. Maybe because it takes time. Now, this is my regular green mix, and since this is just a sketch, I really should just drop in the color and not worry about it so much. But you know me, I just, it's just habit, right? It's just the way I paint. When I paint, I like to do, a very good job. And so I don't know what I will do. Magnolia, I actually went down to the campus to look at all the magnolia and do it over there. But when I do paint along with you guys, I have a lot of those paintings, and some of them I really like, and so I scan them and I sell them as art in my shop, right? And my shop is actually at my blog, which is sunsetpeony.com, and my daughter make that blog for me, and so she also make a shop there, and I have the prints selling there. Now over here I am actually further enhancing the form, okay? I have to, even when I am painting in a sketchbook, I am also quite careful. And so I have prints there, but I've been doing a lot of thinking. I think that I will repaint some of my painting and sell that as original. I probably won't sell that, that's very expensive, but I like to thrift, and so I would go and look and maybe thinking about framing them, actually put them in frames and sell them. And so that is a work in the making. As of right now, I don't have time, but I love painting so much that I just really like to repaint things sometimes. And so I will do that, and I will sell the 5x7 and 8x10, I think, as of right now, and sell some of the original, because I think, I have figured out how to do pressing. I have figured out how to straighten out original, but then it will be in a frame, so that will be a lot easier. I will either have matte some of them, and some of them will not be matted. It all depends, it will be my design, right? And I will just put it in, to sell the original. I think a lot of you guys like original, and that will help me, to support my art too, and it will be fun for me, to do that, and go get little frames, and so that I think some of you guys, maybe most people like to buy it as frame. With the frame, then you guys don't have to worry about framing it. You just get it, and then you can, if you like to, I really appreciate that if you guys like my art. Now over here I am quickly trying to think about the form, and this is the part that we will be included in our paint along, so that you guys can have the, this will be a smaller painting. Instead of doing 4-5 blossom, I will just do one with a bud with green on the back, and so we will do that with the paint along. Then it might not take as long. And then if you guys wanted to do a bigger painting, you're sure welcome to do that, and I think sometimes I do too ambitious of a big painting, like too many blossoms. Isn't that fun? You can see that at this point I have already established the form, and you can see that this is not just a little oval with a sharp point in the top. It's actually, you can see the volume. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, my hair is getting in the way, and so I think by the time I make this into the paint along, we will have the new lights, and it will be brighter, and that will be fun. And I know that the rolling is not as bad, and the tulip I actually had a band of light rolling, but this one is not as bad, even though I'm doing this, at least I hope that this is like 2 times right now. I think it is. You know, the speed, and so you know, there's not a band of rolling color, which is nice. Now, am I actually on 2 times the speed? But anyway, I'll just let it go, you know, whatever the speed is right now. And I think this, because this painting is almost done, I will go in and check and see if I have forgotten. Oh, maybe this watercolor part, I needed to speed it up. But anyway, so you guys actually see the real time. And I think that I will, and I think that's good, you know. It's good, I won't change it anymore. It'd be hard for me to go try to do the voiceover again. So I think this painting will hopefully be about 30-35 minutes maybe, because it's the process. I want the process of art making to be a little bit shorter, because it's just a sketch, right? And then when we paint along, you guys will have fun with me. So much fun. And this is sepia color, and I guess with sepia color I didn't test it out because I am so familiar with it, right? You can see that even in my painting right now, I'm like really worried about the form. Yeah, as I'm looking, I can tell that this is not speed up 2 times. This is just 1 time. Man, I'm going to be better at all of these technical all these technical things, right? And you guys will now what I'm doing right there, I think I'm going to put some green there, because as I have told you that the way to for watercolor to portray translucency is to put in a shadow, a lighter wash of what's happening underneath what we're painting, right? Behind or underneath it. And so, yeah. And so that's what I just did. And, you know, that was enough for me. You know, I didn't go in and try to clean it up. And now I'm deciding, okay, how much line. And I, you know, knowing me, I'm just going to do a lot of them. Going to do a lot of them so that, you know, even though this is a sketch, you know. And so I wish I had get this part 2 times the speed, but that's okay. But you know, a lot of them is not like, but if you guys want a lot of detail on the line, but I'm just going to have enough so that it won't be too busy, right? And that's you know, that's something that we can do it through experience. And this you know, the process of art making is not an intention for you guys to paint along. And even though you might think, oh, you know, Kathy, maybe you should include a drawing for us. No, I actually would like to want to see you guys go out and find flowers or birds or butterfly, whatever, leaves even, you know, in the beginning if you are a first timer, and so that you will be able to see the tips that I gave you as I'm voicing over and telling you, and use that tip and try to find your shape. And as you do so, you will be able to help yourself a lot with you know, getting better, you know, at drawing. When you get better at drawing, then you can actually do what the Chinese painters and me, you can actually create. But other than the benefit of just being able to draw better, drawing is so good for our brain. You know, it helps us focus. It also will help you become more seasoned artist. it actually is quite fun. Like I say in the tulips, you know, drawing is a foundation of every painting. But when you're trying to learn watercolor, and so I will usually include a drawing, but not this one, only in the paint along, not in the process of art making, because you know, the reason I'm doing that is so that you guys can learn the tips of drawing, right? And so I will just give you the privilege of going to find image, and you know, you can find image anywhere. Okay, if it is in your sketchbook, then you know, you don't even have to worry about it. You know, it's in the privacy of your sketchbook, right? Nobody is gonna say, why are you using my image? You know, because you're just doing it in your you're not publishing it. You know, I have to be careful because I'm publishing it. You know, so when I find image, it will probably be in old books. But you know, if I can't find a flower, you know, that I can actually sketch, I will just go to reference, and I will actually you know, go into old books, or think about something myself, you know, and draw that. And okay, now now at this point I just realized that, yeah, my the light is too the purple is too much on this petal that's coming down, and so that will be my note, and then I will keep that in mind when I'm doing the final paint along. Some of these process of art making I will make into paint along, and some of them I won't, because not everyone is you know, that I have so much fun that I would want it to do that, or it's pretty, and so it will just be something. And so I'm done, and so I'll just say goodbye here, and remember to subscribe to my channel if you like that, and thank you for watching with me, and I will see you later.